So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is the Mr. Media Interview, broadcast and recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new Media and American League Baseball capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida.
Hey now.
All right, food for thought. Is Pete Hornberger, producer of The Girly Show starring Tracy Jordan, actually the most normal person on the show's staff? Or do we only get to see actor Scott Adsit in such short bursts as Tina Fey's straight man on 30 Rock that we don't know the real Pete yet? That's one of the questions I'll ask my guest this morning. I'm also curious about his guest role on the most recent episode of Life on Mars, in which he played an actor/bartender. Scott, welcome to Mr. Media.
Hey, hi, thanks.
How you doing?
How are you? I'm good.
I'm doing. Same here. So, Scott, as we get to know your character on 30 Rock better over time, will we love him or loathe him?
Love him. Absolutely. He's the sweetest man in the world. Doesn't navigate his own life very well, but he's all about being good to Liz, which is if you like Liz and you like Pete.
Well, you know what? I'm going to skip ahead since you mentioned that because Pete and Liz do spend a lot of time together. I've got a really quick clip of you and Tina Fey from a very recent episode. Let's go to this now and people get a sense of the interaction here.
Excuse me. Can we get a little service over here, please? Oh.
Dude, I know you're getting these messages because I know how to check your voicemail. You are officially a D-bag, Tim. I hope you lose your indoor soccer game.
Sorry, what can I get you?
A dozen assorted for me to take home to my family, and the lady will have...
A dozen assorted.
Adoption brochure.
Should you be working the night shift alone like this? It's fine. They gave me a gun. That's $6.80. I will have mine to stay, please. You want a dozen donuts to stay? And a skim milk.
What are you doing, Liz?
Making a new friend.
I don't like this. You have crazy eyes.
Shut up, Mouse.
I don't want any part of this.
Then get out of here.
I haven't counted, Scott, but it seems like the vast majority of your primary scenes tend to be with Tina Fey's character, Liz Lemon. I wondered, though, who would you like to see Pete interact with more?
Maybe Jenna. I think that kind of my straightforward approach would conflict well with her rather self-centered approach.
I was,
and more, I'll be with Alec Baldwin anytime you want me to.
I was guessing you would say Alec. I guess it was a week or two ago. There was an episode where Alec interacted with Jonah Freelaugh quite a bit, and I kept thinking, I think there needs to be an episode between Pete.
Well, Alec and I have been talking about developing our relationship on the show a little more, and allowing Pete to be a little more on Alec's level. But everybody, apart from Liz, appears to be afraid of Alec and his character. And we were talking about how maybe Pete is someone who's not afraid of him at all. So hopefully we can develop that a bit more.
Certainly the only two somewhat mature males on the show.
Exactly. Well, that's how Robert Carlock, one of our head writers, describes Pete. He's one of the two adults in the building, and of those two, he's the more adult between me and Alec.
And who is the easiest cast member of 30 Rock for you in terms of acting alongside? And then who is also the toughest for you to get through takes with without cracking up?
Well, the easiest would be Tina, because we've known each other for so long. We've acted together for years. We were at Second City together, and we spent most of our days and nights together there, doing characters and improvising. And so I know her very well, and that's very relaxing to be with her. And then I had to say Tracy is hard to get through takes, because he'll approach a line a different way every time, and he's always funny.
He must be an interesting guy to be around off camera. I hope that there's a big difference between Tracy off camera and on camera, but somehow I doubt that. I think that the line must blur a bit.
Yeah, absolutely it does. Although Tracy's a lot smarter than Tracy. And I'm not going to say which Tracy is which, but he's very savvy, our Tracy Morgan, and he's aware of his job and his effect on people and what's funny about him, and he is always funny. He's just one of those naturally funny guys. Like everything he says, even if he's trying, if he's not, it's funny.
Now, I honestly was not aware that you had that close ties. I knew you had worked with Tina, but I guess I hadn't really thought about how close. That would explain. There just seems to be a great comfort level between the two of you in your scenes. I mean, you have a lot of very subtle situations with her and play them very well, and I guess part of that comes from such familiarity.
We would spend all day at Second City rehearsing, and then we'd go eat, and then we'd go do the show until 1 o'clock in the morning or so, and then we would go out to eat and drink afterwards and fill ourselves. And we back when we had our Chicago weight on, and we would go and eat anything we wanted to when we were just on stage, when it was important to be big enough to be seen. And now we eat less, and so we don't spend as much time as we used to. But she's the busiest woman in New York, which is saying quite a lot.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, I mean, can you tell when she is Tina, your actor friend, and when she's Tina, the producer and, writer? And
yeah, I think so. She's got a lot of people that work for her and a lot of people who want to get near her, and she handles it all very well, but she does have a business mind that she can turn on, and she's still very pleasant, but she's very businesslike sometimes. But most of the time that I see her, she's just her. She's just the girl from Philadelphia who is trying to make it in this world. She's very pleasant. She's very funny. She's just whip smart, and she's just kind and fun, and she's everything you'd want her to be. She really is.
Well, before we have to let you go, I wanted to ask you about your episode of Life on Mars. How different was their set from 30 Rock's?
Well, it's interesting. I've done a few guest star stuff that's shot in New York here, like Law and Order and Life on Mars, and it's a much more serious atmosphere because people have to kind of maintain the trauma that they're going through. So it was a quieter set. There was a little less joking around. There was joking around between the actors kind of quietly on the dramas, but on 30 Rock it tends to be the whole crew is involved in joking around. It's a great crew we have.
Oh, you got, on your regular gig, you've got Alec Baldwin. On Life on Mars, you're dealing with Harvey Keitel and that whole cast. So it was pretty interesting to see you there. And last question, because I know I got to let you go. Do you have any particular work lined up for the break between the end of season 3 and the start of season 4 on 30 Rock? Well,
I produce there's a show on Adult Swim called Moral Oral, which I just finished, which is still being rerun on Adult Swim late at night. And then I'm developing a new show with my partner for Adult Swim, which will be shooting this summer. So we'll be working on that.
Oh, cool. I actually had one of your co-stars from Moral Oral on here, Carolyn Lawrence.
Yeah, she plays Oral, the little boy.
Yeah. So,
how cool. How was she?
She was wonderful. She was absolutely wonderful. You'd probably enjoy hearing that interview. But I know I have to let you go, so I want to tell everybody, catch Scott Adsit on the wonderful NBC sitcom 30 Rock. It's guaranteed.
Award-winning. It's award-winning.
And award-winning. Well, I thought everybody knew that, so I didn't know I need to throw that in. But it is. It's multi-award-winning.
I just like to say
every Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. And Scott, I wish we had more time with you, but thanks so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
My pleasure, Mr. Media.
Have a great day.
You too.
Take care. And folks, for more interviews with TV sitcoms, including Patti LuPone from her 30 Rock appearance, surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com, where you can listen to my earlier conversations with the stars of Chuck, My Name is Earl, Worst Week, and many more. And please think about writing an online review of Mr. Media, casting a vote for Mr. Media, or marking Mr. Media as one of your favorites, whether you listen on Blog Talk Radio, MySpace, Digital Journal, Podcast Pickle, Vox, Folio, Zanga, Mediafly, Podfeed.net, Blueberry, Zencast, or Odeo. And subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. You can also listen with a piece of string and a tin can in many locations. You can also follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, www.twitter.com/Andelman. Thanks so much for joining us today. I always appreciate when you give up a little piece of your day to spend it with us. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Hey now.